together with Johan Lidby and Malin Lidby here at their wine farm, Son Antem, just between Santa Maria and Alaró, at this fantastic bodega. If you were to explain for somebody that's never ever tried your wines at all about your overall style, what would you say?
Freshness, soil character, elegance, and fruit purity. That would be the words that I think to some level we have achieved, but that's really where we're heading, trying to respect the integrity of the fruit.
The journey from being interested in wine and wanted to know more about wine into starting your own business within wine. Tell me about that journey.
It was 25 years plus ago. I worked in the restaurant trade and got the opportunity to import some wines for that restaurant. And having traveled a lot in France, I felt I had a lot of connection with a lot of producers. So I was employed by a Swedish importer and to start up a company for them. And that really started my career in the wine importing business. And a few years later, then in '99, I started my own importing company.
How was your journey into the more professional side of wines and sommelier?
I did the sommelier education at Restaurangakademin in Stockholm. And then I really wanted to get into the wine business in Sweden, not at the restaurants, but at the importer side. So I had chosen a couple of companies that I really wanted to try to work with. So I was in the sales team in Stockholm.
But why did you decide to start your own winery here?
Realizing, well, this is a fantastic potential wine country. It has a lot of history, but I think the most important part is the future. And mentally, suddenly in 2014, for me, I accepted the fact that, well, we are in wine country, and why shouldn't we try to plant some vines and start a vineyard or create a vineyard? Because for me, it's always been the most important is to do things ourselves, not to have a partnership with a vineyard in France or in Italy and put a label of our own on it. It's the fact of starting from the soil and doing it ourselves, which has been the goal that we have been looking for. And so we started in 2014, slowly looking for places here in Mallorca. And as Mallorca is an island, as everyone knows, the options are limited, and there's a lot of people interested in the island. So it took us five years to find what we were looking for, and now we're very, very happy to be here in Son Antem since 19.
Seeing the house inside, I think it took 10 minutes. We were walking around and we realized that, okay, this is the place to be. And we've been looking at several places. We were in Italy, in France, around the island, but this felt like home.
So, in a few words, can you explain the soul of this place?
Tranquility. First of all, it's a really nice, it's a calm vibe.
So Johan, I can easily understand that you can fall in love with a place like this, no doubt about that. But how were you sure that you could have wine here?
There's never a certain, you cannot be sure ever, but the experience from traveling the world of wine, visiting all the continents except South America, after a while you get obviously some experience, and what I saw here and felt, we're on the foothills of the Tramuntana, which first of all is very important, that all the vineyards are in slope, or what is now vineyards. But what the farm had was all of these different exposures, meaning it's not one single plot, a 33-hectare estate that's based around a mountain. Actually, when we purchased, there were no vineyards at all here. It was a a weekend retreat for the former owners, so there was no active agriculture, which we also liked because it gave us the opportunity to take over not a virgin soil, but a non-sprayed soil, so we could convert directly to organic farming. But we have planted all the vineyards since we purchased. So actually 2 months after we purchased, we started planting our first vineyards on the 4th of April 2019. And in 19, we planted 13.5 hectares of vineyard. And in 2020, we planted the other 4.5 hectares. So in total, we have 18 hectares planted out of the 33 that makes up to the farm.
Finding this fantastic estate with the possibility with all the wines here, but also great possibilities with this fantastic finca.
Yeah.
And I guess you, as an interior designer or architect, must feel like, wow.
Yes.
Tell me about your intuition when you came here.
I see things in picture always. So I had furnished the house before we even started to knock down the walls. But then it's also very interesting how you work, because I'm working with other clients, and then I tell everybody that you need to have patience and it takes time and things like that. But when it comes to your own project, it's hard to be patient. Now we moved into the main house, so we started to renovate the apartments, and it's 5 altogether. One is finished almost, and the other ones we hope to finish off this spring. And the idea is to, because they had this agritourism license here when we purchased it, but they had lost it because the standard was too low. So we hope now to renovate and to be able to rent out the apartments in the future.
Tell me now about the wines. What's in the glass? What do we have here?
To start off, we have our first white, which we call Alba. And we have chosen to put a Mallorquin name on the front label. The name of the farm, which is for us important because we want to tell where the wine is made, and also Mallorca on the label, because for us it's important to push Mallorca. Then we have a name chosen that should work from a Mallorquin word. So Alba means how do you say, the sunrise, and it communicates light and something white. So that's why we chose it for our white wine. And this is a 100% Chardonnay, grown on 4 different plots here in the vineyard, where we actually have chosen the ones where we have the most limestone. And then we have one of the reds we made, which we call Vespere, which means evening in Mallorquin. This is what we would call our Mediterranean blend, made of Monastrell and Syrah. And it's 60% Syrah and 40% Monastrell. Different types of vinification, but following the same idea, as respecting the fruit as much as possible. So, of course, hand harvested in small boxes. We drive the boxes down to the winery, sort them on a table. Most of the fruit is destemmed. For the Syrah part, half of it was not destemmed, so we fermented it in open stainless steel tanks with the stems to give a more complex aromatic nose. And then we made a first blending already in September, when we filled one 3,000-liter foodle of Austrian oak, and then we had one part of the Syrah in a 500-liter barrel and kept some of it in stainless steel. And then in March we did the final blend of the 3. So there's 80% that's been into either a foodle or a barrel, and 20% that's stainless steel to add a bit of freshness and complexity on the nose. But what we really like again with this wine is it communicates a freshness from the limestone, which is something, as I would say, you can't buy it for money. You can add acidity if you like, and that's done very commonly in the world. But to me, it never gives the same sensation of integrity in the wine, and it never gives the same freshness to it. We also make a red wine called Fosca, which means obscurity in Mallorquin. And we chose that name because it very correctly showcases what the wine is all about. It's a very dark wine, both in the color and in the sensation and in the character. It's made out of Cabernet grapes with a splash of Merlot. So it's a dark, intense wine that needs some help to really reveal its personality. And so we usually pair this with food, richer food. And then what is dark becomes light. That's really what's interesting, and that's thanks to the food. So Fosca is a Mediterranean Cabernet blend that has this spicy, herbal character that the island gives to one of the greatest wine grapes from the world. But yeah, it's a Mediterranean.
The heritage of Son Antem is a fantastic gift.
Yes.
If you look into the future, if possible,
Yeah.
into the crystal ball, what do you see in 3 years here?
I see that we are up and running with the agritourism, that we are able to welcome people here, trips, but also people from the island coming here, that our winery is ready and that we have place to taste, so that this will be a place for people to visit when they are either living on the island or coming here for vacation, and also not only tourists but Mallorquins as well, and that we have the interior shop up and running, so that Son Antem will be like a whole concept.
So Johan, if you were to give an advice to a young person that wants to become a winemaker like yourself, what would you say?
Define your own vision of your project, stick to your vision, but use big ears to learn from others.